Hello, everybody at Zena Heart to Heart show. Today we have with us Sudip Modak, completely blessed by Lord Ganesha, I say. With a surname like this, I couldn't think of a better blessing to start this show with. Sudip, welcome to Zena. But before we get started, let me give an introduction of Sudip. He is an actor, director, and theater coach. I'll start with the third before because that has probably something which he can leave a legacy on this planet, and that is being a theater coach for youth. Okay, so that I think he's actively working on in the field for the last 15 years. As an actor, you'd have seen him in various TV shows like on Zee Marathi, Eka Lagnachi Teesri Gosht, Junun Yeti Reshimgathi, Sony TV's Crime Patrol. I'm sure many of you would have watched that. And Zing TV's Pyar Kiya, the channel actually got second highest TRP in 7 years. Okay, so his role as Mahatma Jyotirao Phule in the show Garja Maharashtra, he was very highly appreciated. He made again a cameo appearance in this short film called Chubbhan. And Chubbhan is another feather in his cap. And this particular short film went on to receive almost 10 million views on YouTube. So don't forget to miss that. Just go and click on YouTube, Chubbhan short film, and you will find Sudeep there. He then went on to do a directorial debut, and this short film called Cactus, it was selected at various major short film platforms, including in the International Film Festival of India and also Pocket Films. Now, his recent appearances in Netflix, like She and Amazon Prime's Dil Dosti Dilemma, but more so of late, you will see him popping up in all the ad films. He's done things for OLX, Flipkart, with MS Dhoni and Virat Kohli and Rajkumar on the SBI ads, Swiggy, Asian Paints. So he's becoming a recognized face over his 15 years journey, and I think he has arrived. So it's great to have him on the show here, heart to heart, talking to us as an actor, as a director, as a theater coach. Okay, but uh, wait, I need to tell you one other thing that's coming up, and which I think we'll talk during the talk show today, is Pune Highway. How many of you have driven there? Nowadays, you can go very, very quickly, but that's the name of his film right now coming up. And I think he's excited to talk to us about that. Apart from, of course, his award-winning Gujarati play, Ekalavya, which is currently running packed theater, packed houses everywhere. Okay. So let me welcome Inspector Prabhakar Pethe. Aka Sudeep. Please, Sudeep, unmute yourself and let's hear two lines about you from your own side. And I think we'll keep shifting between English and a little bit of English on this show since you're there. I'm not, unfortunately, my name is Sandhya Prakash, and I do not know Marathi, which is such a shame. Okay, so please feel free to speak, throw in some Marathi if you feel like. Yeah, I can understand.
Absolutely.
So over to you, Sudeep. Just a brief two-liner, what I must have missed in the introduction.
No, absolutely. You covered everything, and thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Well, yeah, but mostly I started off as a theater person, and theater has always been my first love. So yeah, there's a lot of training that has gone into me becoming the actor that I am today. So whether those three broader brackets that you introduced me with, whether that is actor, director, and theater coach, the essence lies in the word theater, because that's where
So
I
that's
had
where is the heart to heart with this whole profession
absolutely,
for you, right? Yeah.
absolutely,
Okay, I got that because it's rare to find people who are बोला जाता है कि एक एक्टर जो है if he does not do theater वो actually सही में actor है ही नहीं. It is almost like the so there goes your actual heart's calling. So wonderful.
True. True.
I remember you telling me that schooling you did, but all along you wanted to go into theater. But those were the days where there were no major schools except probably NSD, which was there. So you're not a run-of-the-mill National Drama School, artist. But how did you manage to get into this industry in Mumbai?
Yeah. No, yeah, as I had mentioned that, I always wanted to pursue this field, like be an actor, since the age of 14. At the age of 14, I had decided that I want to take up this field professionally, and I spoke to my father. And my father said that, unlike a lot of other families where there's a lot of friction when a son or a daughter announces something like this, my dad was very encouraging, and he said that, sure, go for it, but you need to study the craft and understand the form, like any other subject, like an engineer would study for X number of years, or a doctor would study for. You'll have to put in those many hours into the subject to understand it and learn it. But that's when I sort of started doing my research in terms of where I could study. So apart from National School of Drama, there was FTI, but FTI didn't have an acting coach. Then there was also Satyajit Ray Academy in Kolkata, which again didn't have an acting course at that point. FTI does have an acting course now, but and then 3 years going to National School of Drama didn't. I mean, I wasn't too kicked by the idea at that point. Then there was another possibility which I explored, was to go to the Lee Strasberg University in LA, but the course was very expensive. So I ended up not going to any of these places or getting formally trained. But I sort of was lucky enough to work with some major people who have studied from these organizations. So when I was in the fifth grade, I got the opportunity to work with Sahi Paranjpe, the film director,
Wow. Yeah.
who's directed great films like Katha, Sparsh, Chashme Badur. Later, I reconnected with her in college and assisted her for a couple of years. Again, during college, I got to spend some time with Motley, which is Nasiruddin Shah's theater group. In college itself, I got to meet some fantastic directors. I studied in Mithibai College, uh, which has a very vibrant theater circuit, theater group. And there I got to work with Nishikant Kamath. Uh, Unfortunately, he's no more. But so these kind of really good names and people uh, who I got to learn from never made me feel that or for that matter, Ramu Ramanathan, who's a prolific playwright. So I kept learning, though not formally, but in my own way. And that sort of helped me to gather and put together all the understanding of the subject that was necessary.
So you're an experiential learner, quite like me. I love learning as well. And I think that experiential learning, what happens is you kind of get soaked into it in real life. So theater, acting, drama would have come into your skin because you don't get success immediately and you don't know the methodologies. You're trying to kind of figure it out as you go along, see what works, see
Right.
what doesn't work, right? So I think experiential learning in this field and then making it,
Yeah.
kudos to you to where you've
Thank you.
arrived today. Yeah,
Thank you.
fantastic. So were there any other options in life did you put in for yourself, like a backup plan, plan B, or was this just plan A and I'm going to go after it?
So in school, I did think about other possibilities. The other possibility was playing cricket. Like, I
Arey.
mean, yeah, every
Films
90s
and
kid.
cricket. Oh my God. We just have, if you're not doing engineering, doctor, or,
Yeah,
any of the other traditional chartered accountancy,
correct.
then maybe, yeah.
But I realized I was not good enough at a very young age, thanks to Rohit Sharma. who was a
Oh,
batchmate,
uh-huh.
and he was exceptionally gifted. And when you play with him at that young age, you realize, you know, you don't know at that point that he'll go ahead and represent the country and all that, but you realize that you're not good enough. So,
Yeah.
so that way, I was
So,
lucky to realize at a very early age that I'm not meant for cricket. But yeah, I mean, I did think about other possibilities. I also thought of doing an MBA or maybe getting into journalism. My dad is a journalist, but I don't know. The sense of belonging that I got by doing theater, I did not get anywhere else. In fact, it almost felt like a catch-up game where, I'm trying to be somebody else from what I actually am when I'm trying to do something else. So yeah,
so one quick interjection. So this English literature, which you
yeah.
did, was it your dad's influence then?
Yes, he's always been an influence.
Journalistic, yeah,
Uh,
influence.
he's always been an influence in that way. I mean, but English literature was also mainly because it was related to theater. When I was in
Okay.
college, there was no particular theater studies as a subject. Now there is an MA in theater. If I would have known that in those days, I would have done that. But yeah, so the next best thing to theater was English literature. You got to learn Shakespeare, Marlowe, School for Scandal, so many plays, so many great authors got to read in those days. So yeah, that's why I chose English literature.
Lovely. I see a lot of your monologues, 90-second monologues of things like Macbeth and so on, and various other plays. So, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, viewers, you must catch his IG link and follow Sudeep there. He has some interesting things coming up, and I encourage you to do more of them out there because
Sure.
that really shows that your love for theater and so on. So,
Mhm.
would you say what inspired you to pursue a career in your field? It is something to dabble with theater, do it as a weekend thing, but to pursue as a career.
Hmm.
What was your major challenge when you went in to this field? So both who inspired you or what inspired you to pursue this, plus what is the challenge? Because so many kids out there today are figuring out what to do in
Hmm.
life. So from that perspective.
Hmm. So I was a very restless and introverted kid from when I remember. And during my May vacations, I used to be a pain in my parents' heads. And they would be like, they put me into a music class, they put me into several other activities, football, and I would still not feel complete or satisfied or happy. I would still be cribbing and complaining. And I left the music class, I left the football midway. I also learned tabla for a while, but nothing really sort of stuck with me until I was put into a theater workshop. And I don't know, it just is meant to be, I guess, because all your energies, all your senses sort of come together, and you start focusing, you start learning how to focus organically. It's not like you're pushing or trying hard to do it,
Right.
and that's where the sense of identity, sense of belonging came from. And then later on, as a byproduct, when I used to do plays in school also, I used to realize that this feels like home. This sort of completes me or gives me the fills up the hollow bits, so to say, or the gaps for me, and that's why it sort of stuck with me. The popularity or the is all secondary. The first thing is just being there and instinctively feeling like you are at home makes you
Right.
feel that I want to be here. I want to do more of this.
Yes, this is exactly when life aligns us. When mind, body, and soul all
Right.
are aligned, and you just feel so present in what you're doing, then yeah, you have
Very well said. Yeah, that's
got it,
exactly what I
got
tried.
it. That must have happened. At what age was that when you figured this out? Like around
So,
approximately.
yeah, as I said, around 14 is when I took the
Okay,
decision to pursue this professionally, but it had been happening for say 3 4 years before that. So since the age of 11 12,
11.
I had started getting the sense
Nice.
of, you know,
Kudos to your
It's
parents for allowing you to flower in this field at that
absolutely,
time. Yeah. So
absolutely, yeah.
fantastic. So let's talk a little about what's coming up. The Pune Highway, just a trailer, just something on it. Then that's it, 2 lines.
Absolutely. No, it's a film that we shot in 2023, and it has a fantastic ensemble cast. There's Jimsar, there's Amit Saad, there's Anubhav Pal, Manjiri Fadnis, Ketki Narayan, Swapnil Asgaonkar, me, of course. So it was an absolute incredible experience shooting with all these people, and at that point we were just it was a joy being on set. I've worked on a lot of TV shows, web series before this, even movies that I did before this haven't really released yet, but this set had something special about it because of the quality of actors. And I've seen a rough cut of the film, and that has translated on screen very well. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed and hope that people also could experience the joy that we felt on set while shooting this. And of course, just a word on both the directors, Rahul Dakuna and Bugs Bhargav Krishna. The energy that they brought on set, and the freedom that they gave us was immense, and it's truly their brainchild. And if not anybody else, I hope
Is
for
it a
them that it does well. Yeah,
is it a horror? Is it a genre? What genre?
it's a crime thriller, but it
Okay.
is three words to describe it best would be it's friendship, morality, and murder.
डेड बॉडी कभी झूठ नहीं बोलती. कौन हो तुम? घर जाना है ना?
पुणे हाईवे दोस्तों के साथ देखिए सिनेमा घरों में, क्योंकि डेड बॉडी झूठ नहीं बोलती. 16 मई.
So that was fantastic. All the best for Pune Highway. I
Thank
hope
you.
this is the highway to success for you and more things coming up.
Let's go.
Sudeep.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
So let's go back to the theatre. I'm just bringing you back to theatre because that's where the heart is beating. Marathi theatre, for example. I'm sure you started with going in Mumbai because you're born and brought up there, to Prithvi Theatre and so many other small theatres now. Nowadays, it's mushroomed a lot more than what it was before. NCPA and probably Prithvi were the only two things. I remember doing my practice school in IDBI, and then I would take the train from Churchgate and go to Prithvi Theatre by evening to just hang around. It was so beautiful and so on. But today, there's so much happening there. So can you throw some light on how has Marathi theatre thrived so much? They managed to keep it together and really flourish. There's a lot of audience for that, the traditional
Yeah,
theatre as well.
yeah. No, it's very interesting that I mean, not going too much into the history of Marathi theatre, but like classical dance is very much a part of growing up for in a Marathi household. Similarly, theater is also very much a part of growing up. Like as a child, I was taken to watch Marathi plays a lot, very regularly. And as you rightly pointed out, there were not too many theaters or within the close by. Like these days, everybody has those. It's too far off. Who'll go there? And so my mother used to take me all the way to Ville Parle from Kandivli, which is like an hour and a half away. And we used to watch a lot of theater in. Um, uh, when I was in school. But the fact is that in the 80s, there was a very strong writers' movement, and it was sort of happening mainly in Marathi theater and to some extent in Bengali theater, where like the Renaissance movement in in Europe, where a lot of writers got together and brainstormed and sort of there was a very healthy competition out of which some great plays came out.
Right.
Similarly, in Marathi, all your Vijay Tendulkar, P.L. Deshpande, Mahesh Elkunchwar, uh, and so many more, Satish Alekar. So many are a byproduct of that system, that movement. And that sort of, it was not only playwriting, but it was a reflection of the society. And it was not, I mean, it was writing plays, progressive plays, was in a way sort of leading the society in a more progressive direction. It was
Right.
considered to be that level of responsibility. So, a lot of times I remember watching a Marathi play and realizing, oh, that is what life is. That is how I need to behave. That is how I need to be. Or else, these are the repercussions. Uh,
Right.
It was a tool that sensitized me at a very young age. Not having any knowledge of craft or those kind of things, but it impacted very deep within. So yeah, Marathi theatre has been a very strong influence, and in fact, that is where I wanted to be. That's my first goal in life, that I want to be on a professional stage doing Marathi plays, because I
Wow.
had no knowledge of how much it pays or what are the career options doing Marathi theatre. But as a child, it's just you don't think about these things. It's
Right.
just aspirational, that world. Looking at a Prashant Damle standing on stage and making 800 people laugh on one joke at a time, or a Vikram Gokhale taking a pause and the whole audience, you can hear the pause, hear
Yeah.
the silence in the audience.
Silence. Mm.
Yeah, so those kind of things were enchanting. So that was, and that's how I started off. My first play was with Sahi Paranjpe as a commercial. My first commercial play as in a play called Sakhe Shezari.
Mhm.
Uh, and again, it was a big break because it was with a person like Sahi Paranjpe, and it was fulfilling all these ambitions that I started off with as a child. And we did some 150 shows of that play within a span of 9 months. That shows you
Wow.
how prolific Marathi theatre is,
Wow.
because no other theater has the scope of doing so many shows. I remember a lot of my friends who do English theater, Hindi theater would come up to us and just be appalled at the number of shows we were doing in Marathi theater. Like 9 months, 150 shows is like 20 shows a month almost. So
Yeah, this is almost like, just probably getting a few weekends off. That's it.
absolutely. And then we would be on tour
Tour.
every
And were
weekend.
you part of all the 150?
Absolutely. It's a primary
Wow.
cast who's doing all the shows.
Wow.
Uh,
And you got off from school
no, this was in post college. I was 22
post
at that
college.
point. Yeah,
22. Okay. Cool.
yeah.
Cool. So you were
So,
still good.
but I was doing a part time theater teacher's job at that point, and I had to do a few adjustments. But as they say, the world conspires for you to do the things that you want to do. So they were very kind enough to incorporate those little offs and leaves here and there, the school people.
Yeah. सारी कायनात जुड़ जाती है.
Correct.
Dialogue made famous. Actually, even in South Indian households, I'm a Tamilian, and for us,
Yeah,
Carnatic music learning for anybody is, if you have a decent voice, you learn. Okay,
correct.
so I think there is no two ways about it. And growing up, I had a very dear friend who spoke Marathi, Sangeeta Vani. So she kind of got me all these nice words like "kai jhala," and it's saying it in a very nice way. I figured out that
Yeah.
there are certain words or phonetics only for Marathi language.
Correct.
That's when I
Correct.
correct. एक डायलॉग बोलो कोई भी
हाँ
थोड़ा
बोले
प्लीज.
प्लीज.
आप
प्लीज प्लीज.
बोलिए, मैं नहीं, आप
अच्छा,
बोलिए.
मैं
हाँ
मराठी मराठी
हाँ
प्ले से.
मराठी में. हाँ
एक मोनोलॉग है नटसम्राट प्ले का, उसी का बोल देता हूँ
बोलो
मैं.
बोलिए. हम्म.
कुणी घर देतं का घर? एका तुफानाला कुणी घर देतं का? एक तुफान भिंती वाचून, छपऱ्या वाचून, माणसाच्या माय वाचून, देवाच्या दये वाचून डोंगरा डोंगरात हिंडत आहे, जिथून कोणी उठवणार नाही अशी जागा ढूंढत आहे. कोणी घर देतं का? घर.
Arey, wow, very nice, very nice. Thank you for playing along. So, what till now, for 15 years, has kept you motivated to continue your work in this field? I'm sure there was ups and downs. You
Yeah.
maybe if you feel like sharing one challenge, and what has kept you motivated
I think
to
it's
stay?
yeah. So as an artist, I've realized that it's not like, I mean, in other fields also, even after finishing your formal education, you are constantly learning, no doubt. But as an artist, I realized that your learning is lifelong. And if you keep pursuing and if you keep being at it, that's when you start, a lot of questions start getting resolved with age and time. So there are so many questions even now in my head, that until I get answers to them, I cannot stop. So I think it is those questions, that curiosity that keeps you going on. Like,
Motivated.
I am 37 now, and now is the time when I've got my first theatrical release.
Yeah.
So uh, so now the journey begins, honestly, for me, in a way. That would be the answer
Most
to that question.
motivating.
Yes. And in terms of challenge, there are so many challenges. In fact, in this morning we were on a call, reading for a film, on an online call, and we were talking about why do we do what we do despite so many challenges. It is uncertain. There is so much depression and fear on the way, in terms, and there is so much exploitation. As an actor, you're met with challenges day in and day out. People are promising you work and then going back on their word. There's this insider outsider conversation. There's nepotism and all of those kind of things. Also your internal struggles, just
Right.
to, like, as a 25-year-old, when I got my second television show, um, I was offered less money than the first one,
Oh dear.
and I had to take it up. There was no choice. For the first
Yeah.
10 years of my career, from the age of 22 till 30 years, uh, I sort of just leapt up anything that came my way, because as an actor, I never had the choice to say no, purely because of the money angle, coming from a middle class background. But so it is just that drive to learn something that it's very inexplicable. These kind of things, I feel it's a drug. Theater, film, acting, creative field, any creative field. It just keeps you going, and you just feel that for nothing else but just the joy that you derive from the work itself. Uh, that and as Nasir Saab had put it very well in one of his interviews. He said that it is not about uh, getting the right job. It is about how ready you are when that right job comes to you.
Yeah.
So this whole journey is about being ready, keeping yourself ready, because you never know when it comes. And there have been so many instances where you feel like giving up, but if you keep pushing yourself and if you keep focusing on the right things, I think you will get that opportunity.
Very well said. Very well said. Especially what you said about being ready.
Hmm.
तैयारी बोलते हैं.
Hmm.
जब practice and तैयारी, even रियाज,
Correct.
it's not as if somebody is going to ask you to sing, but you always have to be ready and prepared. I
Absolutely.
remember there's another very interesting thing that I read once about a sculptor.
Hmm.
When a sculptor sees a stone, Okay, he's just chopping off. Nobody else can know what he's going to arrive at.
Hmm.
Okay, and so जिंदगी जो है हमें ऐसे ही चॉप करती रहती है. So there's a lot of
Hmm.
challenges which keep chiseling you. वो
Correct.
उसको मालूम है वो क्या बनाना है आपको.
बनाना है उसमें.
Okay,
बहुत सुंदर.
and
Hmm.
and then you will just emerge at the right time if you go
Yeah.
through each one of the chiseling. So just the simile of that struck me when you were saying this. कितने challenges है पता नहीं मैं कर क्यों रहा हूँ आपने जो बोला.
Correct.
Then
नहीं, ये बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल है, बिकॉज स्कल्पटर जब कुछ बनाते रहता है तो कई बार 6 महीने 8 महीने साल भर उसी में लगा रहता है, और सोसाइटी ये समझ नहीं पाती वो क्या कर रहा है. कई बार आप देखोगे कि आसपास के लोग बोलेंगे पता नहीं, पड़ा रहता है एक कोने में कुछ बनाते रहता है, क्या खुद को अपने आपको क्या समझता है पता नहीं. एंड व्हेन द वर्क इज ओवर, दैट्स व्हेन एवरीबॉडी स्टार्ट्स एडमायरिंग द जीनियस ऑफ द पर्सन.
yeah,
सो
and then that sculptor when I read said that वो मूर्ति के अंदर से आवाज आ रही थी कि मुझे बाहर निकालो.
ब्यूटीफुल.
So, so we don't realize what is happening to us. And many of us, of course, we don't stay the course. So we give up, right?
राइट.
तो but अगर ये समझ ले वो उसके perspective से मेरे को लगा, the viewers also will feel this is exactly what you're saying right now. कि you just have to stay the course. Depression हो, कोई, tries to take you on another road, but once you're aligned and this is what you want to have. So this message I think is out there to all the Gen Zs, Gen Alpha, Gen Beta, or whoever is going to come up now, that guys, world is moving fast, we are all connected, there is over connection, but it's important to go within and see what lies within us and to explore in this human life, right? That's what
Absolutely.
we do. So in this career so far, Sudeep, what is your proudest moment? What is your proudest moment so far?
Proudest moment, well, so far, it was more of a surprise. This second television show that I'm talking to you about, Julun, Yeti, Reshimgathi, this I did almost 10 years ago, and I got a small trailer of what fame means. And it comes as a surprise. You're not expecting it, because it was a TV show that I was shooting for, and suddenly my character started getting popular. But how popular it was is something that I got to know later. I went to watch a play with my wife, and I bought tickets. I always, and don't ask for invites. I always
Right.
buy tickets for the plays that I watch.
Nice.
So me and my wife were sitting somewhere in the middle row because we didn't have tickets available. And then somebody saw me there and recognized me. And then it sort of, I could see people, like there was a little bit of a buzz around, and 10 people around me, next to me, people in the next row, few in the back row. They had started discussing, कि, अरे ये आया, ये आया. तब तक ठीक था. I was like, हाँ, okay, fine. Then an hour of the show happened, and the interval house lights came on, and suddenly everybody in that auditorium knew that I was there.
Wow.
And there was almost a crowd of some 70, 80 people who were sort of around me, wanted to click pictures with me. And it didn't stop there. So when we were about to leave, I was so happy. Obviously, I gave everybody pictures and whatever they needed. But when we were about to leave, I got my car out from the parking, and there was a right turn I had to take to reach the exit gate. And I saw, while taking that right turn, there were around 100 people waiting to wave at me just to say goodbye.
Wonderful. What a proud moment.
Oh
What a
my
proud
God. It
moment.
was something else. Like, you realize what fame is in a small pocket, not really like, but that was special. Yeah. And when it comes for the first time, it's a surprise.
Yeah. But then you have that drug, no, which you said, the drug effect. Now you want it again. It's like,
Again,
अरे
absolutely.
हाँ हाँ आ जाए भाई कभी ना कभी.
True.
So for youngsters, what is the advice for a starter in your field? आप बोलोगे कि भाई बहुत संभल के चलो यार यहाँ पे बताओ, or would you say, what would you tell them? Like, assume there are 2-3 kids from that audience who are waving to you, come up and say, भैया मुझे भी करना है, इस फील्ड में जाना है, मैं क्या करूँ? क्या बोलोगे आप?
मैं इतना ही कहूंगा कि आप फोकस जितना इंटरनल रख सकते हो कि आपको इसमें से क्या मिल रहा है. लाइक यू सेड कि वो जो पॉपुलैरिटी भी है वो आती जाती रहेगी,
Correct.
और वो अगर आपकी ड्राइव है तो आप फंस जाओगे.
Hmm.
It has to be whether this subject by itself is attractive enough, is fulfilling enough for you to stick it out. अगर वो आपका फोकस सही रहेगा ना, तो तब आप बहुत एंजॉय करोगे पूरी जर्नी. ये सारे अप्स एंड डाउन्स भी एंजॉय करोगे आप. कि आप अगर जैसे मैं अपनी पूरी जर्नी में whenever I'm depressed, what makes me happy is a good film, the perspective of an interesting director or the performance of a great actor. मेरी पूरी जवानी मैंने इसी में बिताई है कि डैनियल डे लुइस क्या करने वाले अगला.
Right.
एंड दैट
Right.
एंटिसिपेशन एंड दैट क्रेज एंड दैट मैडनेस, एंड फिर फिल्म फेस्टिवल्स में जा जाके 5 फिल्म एक के बाद एक देखना दोस्तों के साथ.
सही
एशियन
है.
फिल्म फेस्टिवल में गए थे हम. तो ये जब तक है तब तक यू कीप लर्निंग. दैट्स द
Correct.
ओनली
Correct.
थिंग. Don't let
बिल्कुल
external
बिल्कुल.
factors shadow your desire to learn. That is,
I think we mentioned this couple of times. Learning, continuous learning,
yeah,
and staying with the craft. You know how to better
absolutely.
it, how to better it. How is somebody else bettering it? So you're tuning your mind to that improvement, and learning constant. और ये आपने
Yeah,
सही बोला. International film festivals are fantastic. So we were in Dubai. So we had
yeah.
the Dubai International Film Festival 10 साल के लिए. तो and I'm not that much of a movie goer. Came from a very small town, but my husband's born brought up Bombay, तो बहुत film का fan है. He
Hmm.
would go and see 5-6 films back to back, in a
Wow.
day for 10 days. And उसके पास tickets होती थी like 40-50. उसमें I would watch about 5-7, let's say, okay, along
Yeah.
with him. I used to wonder, ये कैसे देख सकता है, ना ही actor है ना कुछ है. But what do you say, no, now that you're
Correct.
learning, how do they
Yeah.
do it? How does the story come together? What is the culture of a particular place? So when we travel there, you had all these things. तो वो madness ही बोल सकता है उसको.
Absolutely.
And
आप कभी
it's
मामी
fabulous.
फिल्म फेस्टिवल या जो इंडिया के ही अच्छे फेस्टिवल्स है उसमें भी जा. अभी हम लोग इफी में भी प्रीमियर्ड अ फिल्म इन इफी. The
Okay.
kind of vibe, I took my parents along to watch my film. We had to, all the actors had to clear the theater. We couldn't watch the film because it was overbooked.
Oh.
It was overbooked. So इतनी भीड़ लगी रहती है film festivals में. There's such excitement. And honestly, the best place to watch a film is a film festival, because
Film festival, yeah.
there's a great, I mean, watching a film with a film loving audience is a different experience.
And they are coming to understand and appreciate and then meet the stars later to find out what happened behind the scenes, right, when they
Correct.
come up and share. So that's also fantastic, because everybody wants ये real life और real life के बीच में जो gap है ना, तो
Correct.
everybody
Correct.
wants to understand how you go from the audience to the stage. So
Right.
इसी point पे, I remember when we were talking earlier before the talk, we were talking about how you stepped out of the audience appreciating, and then you were the one on the stage, and you were no
Yeah.
longer the audience. And so what are the qualities for success in your field once you went from the audience to the stage? क्या qualities लगती हैं आपको, if you want to succeed? Maybe your own points or something you're still looking for, or advise others.
Hmm. I think persistence and self-belief.
Persistence and self-belief. Okay.
Yeah, I think these two things can lead you, of course, things which are in your control. अभी आप कई बार ना, ये एक कॉन्वर्जेशन हम आर्टिस्ट कम्युनिटी में भी होते रहता है, आर यू गुड इनफ, या हाउ गुड आर यू. ये अगर हम इस कॉन्वर्जेशन में अटक जाए ना, और ये मेरी और एक यंग ऑडियंसेस को एक ये एडवाइस है कि आप मत सोचो आर यू गुड इनफ, लेट द ऑडियंस डिसाइड. आप बस काम करते रहो. तो
Right.
आई थिंक दैट्स इंपॉर्टेंट, परसिस्टेंस एंड सेल्फ बिलीफ. परसिस्टेंस से मेरा मतलब है कि आप रिजेक्ट ही होते रहोगे.
हाँ.
What I mean by, if you're not good enough and the audience or the makers or the creators feel you're not good enough, so you are going to continuously be rejected. But if you really want to do it, you will take the effort to improve.
Right.
Instead of thinking about मैं good enough नहीं हूँ, I'm not meant for this, if you take the effort to improve yourself by persisting in the craft, तो you will find your own way and maybe your path changes. ऐसा नहीं है, कई बार आपको realize होता है कि you're meant for something else
Right.
within the field itself. कई बार
Yeah.
actors make for better writers, better directors, better DOPs, and vice versa. So yeah, persistence and self belief would be my qualities.
Fantastic. नहीं, ये सेम चीज इवन एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के लिए हम बताते हैं. यू नो व्हेन वी मेंटर स्टार्टअप एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, दे विल स्टार्ट अ कंपनी विद ऑल द थिंग एंड देन यू फाइंड दैट देयर इज नो मार्केट. देन दे वी हैव दिस वर्ड कॉल्ड पिवट. So we
Correct.
pivot and we change course by taking the feedback from everybody. So it
Right.
is not only important to take the praise when it comes, but also the negative criticism, negative feedback. So can you say how do you handle that also? Because otherwise you
Yeah.
can't pivot, you can't
Yeah.
change course.
I'll tell you what I really appreciate constructive feedback. But as a person also, I'm slightly pessimistic in life. So even if I've done the best of work, I know when I go out, there are going to be naysayers, there are going to be people and I expect the worst.
Huh.
So I'm not surprised or taken aback. But at the same time, I look forward to constructive feedback because see, there is nothing called as perfect art.
Right.
Because it's such a perspective oriented thing, whether it is acting. मैं जिस तरीके से कैरेक्टर प्ले कर रहा हूँ वो मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग, मेरी एबिलिटी और मेरे एक्सपीरियंस के बेसिस पे कर रहा हूँ. कोई और वो अलग तरीके से करे, कोई और उसको अलग तरीके से देखेगा. तो देयर इज नो कंट्रोल ओवर एनीथिंग इन दिस फील्ड.
Yeah.
So there are going to be people who will speak things, but what to take and what not to take. Listen to everything, but what to take and what not to take is something very important. Because if you start, if somebody starts expecting you to be like Daniel Day-Lewis or starts comparing your performance to Daniel Day-Lewis, that would be a problem. That wouldn't be the right comparison, and that's where let that person speak. You need not correct that person, but at the same time you realize that these are two different kind of people and two different interpretations and two different schools of acting. So I will not be affected by that kind of a feedback if it's a negative feedback.
Yeah, सब में maturity time से आती है, and this not everybody can take it as maturely as you are saying it.
But Sanjay, I'll tell you one thing. As an actor, I have realized within yourself, you know when you have hit the right note. Somewhere inside, you know सही हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है. और आप अगर ऑनेस्ट हो ना अपने आप से, तो बाहर की क्रिटिसिज्म आपको मैटर ही नहीं करती. आपको पता होता है आपने या तो सही किया है या तो कुछ रह गया है, कुछ कम पड़ गया है.
नहीं, ये एज अ सिंगर नो वी नो दिस वेरी वेल. जब स्टेज पे जाके एक नोट भी इधर उधर हो जाता है, वी नो वी डिडंट प्रैक्टिस इनफ, वी डिडंट, कहीं तो कसर बोलते हैं ना, कसर रह
बाकी रह
गई.
गए. बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
तो वो तो होता ही है. तो ये एक दिस गिव्स मी अ गुड सेगवे टू एक मिस्टेक जो आपने लाइफ में की. Anything that you want to share, and what was your learning from that? Because that makes it very real, when we are talking to people. Anything that you want to share?
I don't know if I will call it a mistake, but because the decisions that you take at that time in the particular set of circumstances feels right, and it is right, because it's only when you look back you realize that it could have been different. So मैं यही जो शो की बात की मैंने आपसे, जुलून येती रेशिमगाठी, उसके बाद एक मेरा थोड़ा बहुत मराठी में people were recognizing me, I was getting calls and all that. But I was supposed to travel for a musical, another musical, to London. And I had already committed to them before the show happened. And after the popularity that I gained for the show, I had a choice either to continue with my tour to London or so the first time I got a call for the show was when they told me we don't know, it could go on for a week or for months. So at that time only I told them that 4 months later I have this tour planned and I won't be able to continue for more than 4 months. They said, "आ तो जा, वो बात की बात है," and all that. But our track became so popular that it went on for 4 months and they wanted to continue it after the 4 months also. So, but by then my tour was supposed to happen. So I took a 2.5 month break right after the show.
Okay.
And I sort of, walked out of a character when it was doing really well.
Well,
And वो कहते हैं ना कि आउट ऑफ साइट आउट ऑफ माइंड, क्योंकि 2-3 महीने अगर आप बाहर रहो तो,
yeah.
एंड लंदन मतलब कंप्लीटली, मुझे वहां पे भी कई बार कॉल्स आते थे, ऑडिशन मैसेजेस आते थे, पूछताछ होती थी कि हमारा शो है, आप करोगे नहीं करोगे, एंड आई वाज जस्ट नॉट अवेलेबल. सो आई जस्ट फील मे बी थिंग्स कुड हैव बीन डिफरेंट इफ आई वाज अराउंड, बट ऐसा कोई जरूरी नहीं है. इट्स जस्ट समथिंग
Zaruri
दैट,
nahi hai, but yeah. So this is about choices, right?
या,
Sometimes we make choices based on what info we have at certain time. फिर उसके बाद
एब्सोल्युटली
उसकी opportunity cost जो है, वो जो
करेक्ट.
लॉस हुआ है, उसके बारे में सोच सोच के अपने आप को डाउन करने से मतलब नहीं है. वो जो
कोई
गया
फन
गया. सो वो नसीर साहब ने जो बोला, सही टाइम पे सही जगह रहना, राइट टाइम राइट प्लेस,
बिल्कुल.
maybe
बिल्कुल.
may not be, but no
और
point
वो
worrying
आप नहीं
about
डिसाइड
it.
कर सकते ना, आप नहीं
Yeah,
डिसाइड कर सकते
yeah.
क्या सही
Correct,
है क्या
correct,
गलत
correct, correct,
है.
correct. So for all these right choices and क्या करना है? Do you have an influential mentor in your life? Did you think you needed one? Do you need one? Do you still keep one? What is
Yeah.
the role of that in your life?
I have multiple mentors in my life.
Is
I
it?
learn
Oh,
from
fantastic.
I learn from every possible good influence around me. Whether it's my mother, whether it's my father when I was growing up, my wife, my family is, other people closest to me, and it's not mentoring. I feel is not about the craft. Craft तो आप सीखे हो, आपको पता है. स्क्रिप्ट
Correct.
आने के बाद स्क्रिप्ट अच्छी है कि नहीं, ये मैं सबसे बेहतर जानता हूँ.
Best. Correct.
हाँ, बट वो जो एक बैकिंग चाहिए होती है ना फैमिली की मेंटली,
हाँ, हाँ.
वो काफी हद तक ये 3 पिलर्स है मेरे लाइफ के, मेरे पेरेंट्स और मेरी वाइफ, जिनसे होता है. क्रिएटिवली स्पीकिंग, एक रामू रामनाथन करके जो प्ले राइट है, उनसे उन ग्रोइंग अप ईयर्स में बहुत ज्यादा मेंटोरिंग हुई थी, जहाँ पे अगेन कोई चीज क्यों करनी चाहिए, उसके पीछे का साइंस क्या है, उसके पीछे का लॉजिक क्या, इन्फ्लुएंसेस क्या है लाइफ में, वर्ल्ड व्यू क्या होता है, वर्ल्ड सिनेमा क्या होता है, ये सब मामलों में उनसे बहुत सीखने मिला. तभी एक चैतन्य तामाणे करके आज बहुत ही पॉपुलर फिल्म मेकर है, वो हमारे बैचमेट है. तो उनसे उनके वो भी एक बड़ा इन्फ्लुएंस रहे हमारे लाइफ पे, क्योंकि when we were young we used to gather at his place, and there was almost a world cinema festival that would happen because he had this local CD vendor, जिनसे वो दुनिया भर की फिल्म की सीडीज मंगाते थे,
हाँ,
और हम सारे दोस्त मिलके उनके घर पे वर्ल्ड सिनेमा देखा करते थे. सो वो भी एक बहुत बड़ा इन्फ्लुएंस रहे हैं, मेंटोर रहे हैं. तो कई लोग हैं जिनसे, हमारे दोस्तों में ही कई लोगों ने बहुत मेंटोरिंग की हुई है. So yeah, I think I can think of these people. Apart from that, obviously professionally, like I said, whether it's Sahi Paranjpe or Nasir Saab or these kind of people, I've learned a lot from.
fantastic, fantastic. You did mention your wife more than a couple of times. I think she's a Kathak dancer, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. And as an artist,
Yeah.
to have another artist as a partner,
Yeah.
what is the one advice that has stayed with you, which she has given you
From her,
from her as an artist?
um she's an exception, not because she's my wife, but she's an exceptional artist. You, if you check out her videos on YouTube, you'll realize what I'm saying. And we got together at a very young age. Like we started dating when we were both 18. And my love for her was more my admiration for her as an artist.
Wow.
So her discipline and pure sincerity towards her craft is something that stays with me for this long.
Naam unka?
And
Naam?
Pooja Pant.
Pooja Pant. Okay. Wonderful.
Oh,
Guys, check her out too. Does she teach or does she only perform?
no, she has her own institute as well. She teaches, she choreographs, she performs. Yeah, so she's a institute in herself, so to say. But I keep learning from her, jokes apart, a lot. And yeah, she's been a major influence on my journey uh, as an actor, because as I mentioned, that you need very strong support from the family if you want to step into this field. So that's where, before I met my partner, and even after that, before I met my partner, my parents were a very strong support, who sort of gave me that backing. And after I met her, both of us have been sort of sticking to each other and providing that necessary support wherever needed.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Your legacy that you want to leave, we discussed this right at the beginning, was the youth theatre workshops.
Yeah.
So, can we spend our closing minutes in talking deeply about why theatre, why for the youth, why now? क्यों अभी important है?
So this
Because I'll,
journey, yeah,
before you start, because till today I remember in bits, I was part of this Fiddler on the Roof. एक बहुत
yeah.
बढ़िया म्यूजिकल प्रोडक्शन है, तो उसमें I got this chance in the first second year. My dad was like quite against me singing on stage when I was little and all, but this I got into this, and then it opened up the entire life, because the choir, was
Correct.
being there was fantastic. So youth, why should they look at theatre closely for better mental health?
Yeah. So Fiddler on the Roof, by the way, is one of my favorite plays. If I were a rich man,
If I were a rich man.
man. Lovely, lovely film, and I've also seen a theatrical. There's a Marathi adaptation which is also,
Is it?
yes, it's very well done. And in fact, Sahi Paranjpe had adapted it into
Oh,
Marathi,
is
and
it? We
very
did oof, till today, I know the entire cast, we, mazel tov,
Mazel tov.
we'll
Yeah,
greet each other that way. So, yeah.
yes, yes.
Yes.
And even there's another song in Fiddler on the Roof, no, where
Lakayam, Lakayam to life.
Lakhaim, yeah. No, there's that song where very popular song where it's about the couple. I forget the name. Anyway, whenever it comes back.
It'll come. Huh.
So my journey in children's theatre started when again I was 22, 23. My first job, proper job, was as a theatre teacher. I set up the theatre course at Udayachal High School, which belongs to Godrej Industries. So that was a part of me which was always active. I started theatre in school, so always wanted to give it back by working with children. And there is a different joy of working with children, because they are very receptive. They're empty glasses. And at that point, I didn't have the understanding of why I'm sort of inclined towards working intensively with children. But later on in COVID, I got a lot of time to put together all my learning, to organize all my learning. And that's when I realized that, again, having spent 7, 8 years with my wife, and she being a Kathak teacher, Kathak dancer, I realized that the classical art forms related to dance are very well organized. There is a syllabus, there are examinations. Children start at the age of 4. There's a 7-year course they
Right.
undergo before they learn. And when it comes to theater, I realized it's totally chaotic, disintegrated. There is no system. Every person has their own system. Even if they're teaching the same thing, it's not synchronized, or there's no sort of it doesn't come together, and it's not even promoted as a tradition of learning. So that's when I realized that this is the prime sort of area that needs to be focused on and given the due importance, because I know it is a recent, compared to classical dance, which is a much older tradition in India. Theatre is more recent. Uh, in fact, in the Natya Shastra, there's a lot that is being spoken about acting, but all of that is mainly to do with dance. So acting was all sort of within the scope of dance. Like in dance, you have abhinay, so it
Right.
was a part of that. So this form of acting is a much recent phenomena post the British era. So it's very young, but I feel to start a systematic method of dispensing theater education at a very young age for children is very important. Something I missed as a child
Yeah.
because uh, it's not. And again, in COVID, I realized that what I gained from theater is not just my ambition to become an actor, but it was way more than that. It made me as a person what I am. So there is an entire array of skills that theater gives you, uh, mentally, physically, vocally, and that's where I last 5 years have been spending parallelly along with my acting work. I've been working on developing this system, and at some point, if we can develop a central sort of government aided course, certification course like classical dance has for theater. Now, fortunately, theater courses have come up for grown-ups. Like
Yeah.
there's a MA and BA in theater. But
Right.
again, like NSD or anybody, the thing is, in our country, there is this fear always that we do not want to mislead our children into worlds which are so uncertain. बिकॉज बॉलीवुड हैज सॉर्ट ऑफ क्रिएटेड दैट इम्प्रेशन कि भाई सबको एक्टर बनना है, ग्लैमर है, ये है वो है, तो हमको हमारे बच्चों को बिगाड़ना नहीं है.
हाँ.
बट ये सोच डांसिंग के बारे में नहीं है.
हाँ.
डांसिंग के बारे में उनको लगता है क्लासिकल डांस से तो बच्चे बिगड़ने नहीं वाले. सिर्फ तो कहने का मतलब यही है कि थिएटर एजुकेशन इज वे बियॉन्ड जस्ट एक्टिंग.
आपके पास करिकुलम सब सेट है पूरा?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. मैं रन कर रहा हूँ 3-4 साल से अलग अलग स्कूल में थिएटर कोर्सेज, जहाँ पे हम अलग अलग यूनिट्स में अलग अलग की लर्निंग एरियाज पे फोकस करते हैं. फिर वो कम्युनिकेशन हो, फिर वो पर्सनालिटी बिल्डिंग हो,
पब्लिक स्पीकिंग हो.
पब्लिक स्पीकिंग हो, कई चीजें, इंटरप्रिटेशन एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग, एनालिसिस. अब हम जब सीन एनालिसिस करते हैं, हम बिहेवियरल अंडरस्टैंडिंग होती है ना. कई बार क्या होता है कि बच्चे जो है व्हेन दे आर 7, 8, 9 year old, they do not understand what is happening in the world around them.
Right.
Just simply through stories,
Right.
they start understanding behaviors and people around them and perspectives and reactions and responses. तो ये सारी चीजें आपको दुनिया को समझने में मदद करती है.
कितने कितने लोगों की क्लास है? लाइक व्हाट इज द मिनिमम मैक्सिमम कैन बी पार्ट ऑफ दिस program?
So it depends. Schools में if we are working, it's generally with a class of around 25 kids.
25 kids. Okay.
But if it's individual workshops, we recommend 15, ताकि everybody gets personal attention.
Nice. Nice. So you enjoy this very much, huh? And you have this curriculum, and you want to
I do.
you want to make it a pretty formal offering. Do you
Yeah.
train trainers? Are you ready to train trainers to take this
We
all
do.
across?
We do. I work with a couple of organizations. There's Drama School Mumbai, with whom where I am good friends with Jehan Manekshaw. के साथ I've been discussing this idea of a centralized certification course. There's also Jeff Goldberg, who runs his own academy studio for grown-up actors, who also I have been talking to about this. So I think it is going to happen at some point. I just want to be there when it happens and
Ready, तैयार.
ready.
आप तैयार हैं as long as, because UK में काफी सारा it is very पद्धति जो बोलते हैं बिल्कुल
Yes.
properly structured.
बिल्कुल. आप you have hit the nail on the head, because Trinity School of London जो है वो इस तरीके के सर्टिफिकेशन करता है.
Yeah.
और उनका काफी ऑर्गेनाइज तरीके से होता है. बट मेरा सवाल ये है कि व्हाई डू वी नीड ट्रिनिटी स्कूल ऑफ लंदन? एक तो वो बहुत एक्सपेंसिव है.
Correct. No, not only expensive. See, your culture and the way you want to bring theater for the Indian is based on the Indian culture, Indian thought process, and whatever.
बिल्कुल,
So, a method can be from the structure which is there, but maybe there is something in between. So, shout
Right.
out to all heart to heart viewers. दिल से
Absolutely.
दिल मिल गए, दिल से दिल मिल गए,
क्या
मिल
बात
के
है.
यूं खिल गए. अरे ये गाना वो तो नहीं था, मैच मेकर मैच मेकर?
Matchmaker, that's the popular one.
Matchmaker, make me a match.
Find me
Find
a
me a
find,
find, catch me
catch
a
me a
catch.
catch. What a lovely
अरे
song.
वाह. What
What a
a lovely
lovely.
song. Yeah, आज जाके
Yes.
सुनेंगे भी आपके शो के बाद,
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
And it has it's a delightful story. It's come from Russia, right? So
Correct.
Russia, Israel, so many.
And the actor who plays the father, Gogol, I
Ah,
forget his name. Yeah. What a fantastic actor. What a voice he has.
beautiful, beautiful. So we
Yeah.
had one of our, 1 year senior,
Yeah.
couple of years senior. So he's now started after leaving his corporate life. He started singing now. Our
Wow.
guy. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very nice, very nice.
Lovely.
Okay, so I think we come to the end of our chat. It's been wonderful talking to you, Sudeep. Wish you all the very best in life and your theatrical pursuits. I hope you influence a lot and lot of people out there. We hope at Zena we will get a chance to experience your theater workshop once when we call you. Okay, we have a lot of people here in Bangalore. So,
Abhi na jao chhod ke, if you know the song.
aha.
Hmm. Wow.
अभी ना जाओ छोड़ कर के दिल अभी भरा नहीं अभी ना जाओ छोड़ कर के दिल अभी भरा नहीं अभी अभी तो आई हो पहाड़ बन के छाई हो हवा जरा महक तो ले ये दिल जरा बहक तो ले ये शाम ढल तो ले जरा ये शाम ढल तो ले जरा ये दिल पहल तो ले जरा मैं थोड़ी देर पी तो लूं नशे के घूंट पी तो लूं अभी तो कुछ कहा नहीं अभी तो कुछ सुना नहीं अभी नहीं 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 अभी ना जाओ छोड़ कर के दिल अभी भरा नहीं.
क्या बात है.
Hey, Sudeep.
क्या
Thank
बात
you,
है. You
thank you, thank
truly
you.
are fantastic. Thank
I
God
enjoy
Rajiv ji
singing.
suggested that you sing before we end the show. Yeah.
So nice, so nice. No, I just love singing. अभी मैं वही सोच रही हूँ regular voice practice करो गाते रहो. I sing on stage and stuff, but I enjoy
How lovely.
singing. Yeah.
But
Thank you so
you were
much. So
fantastic.
let me wrap this up.
Yeah.
We end with this, and it was so good knowing you, Sudeep.